Hey, Derek Tolnay with Team Tolnay. I just wanted to say thank you so much for choosing to work with us. I know you've got a lot of options out there when it comes to lending, and we don't take that for granted. So thank you so much. We really look forward to helping you through the process. We believe we're one of the top lending teams in Denver for a few reasons. The first is we are really focused on providing a great client experience, and we do that in a few ways. The first one is we're going to guarantee that we get you to the closing table on time. I can't say the same is true for every lender out there. In fact, 68% of all pre-approvals never make it to the closing table on time. So they're pre-approved, the deal never closes. That's about 1,000 loans a day that don't ever make it to closing. I've been doing this for 20 years and I've never once missed a closing date because of our system, our structure, and our process. So we're gonna guarantee that we get you to the closing table on time, and we're also gonna make sure that we close accurately. What that means to me is if we tell you exactly what closing costs and your cash to close are gonna be up front, that is exactly how that deal's gonna close, not a penny more. If it's a penny more, I'm cutting you a check for the difference because I hate surprises at closing. And the third thing, probably the biggest complaint in our entire industry, is poor or lack of communication. So we're gonna have great communication throughout the entire process and really make sure that you have that great experience that we work so hard to achieve. Now, the second reason we believe we're one of the top lending teams in Denver is because the market's always changing. And when you've got a market that's always changing, whether it's super competitive or it's not competitive at all, the seller is always wanting to know what level of assurance you can provide as a buyer that's gonna make them feel good about accepting your offer and getting to the closing table on time. So the way that we do that is everything up front. We're gathering all your financials. We're making sure we have a home buying consultation. I've got an entire department that's dedicated to doing approvals up front in the beginning so we can do all the heavy lifting and get all of the potential mishaps out of the way up front, as opposed to at the last second and now everybody's frustrated. But once we have that upfront approval, again, not a pre-approval, the whole loan is fully underwritten up front. We call it our fast track product, and we want to make sure that that's totally done because now I can back your loan with anywhere between $10,000 and $25,000 of my cash. The way that it works is you go to write an offer, and let's say there are multiple offers on the property. I'm able to call the listing agent, talk to the seller, and say, listen, if you accept our offer, I know you've got 9 other offers or even 2 other offers on the table, but if you accept ours, I'm gonna hand you a check for $25,000 in cash. And it basically says in the memo line of that check, if we don't close on time or there's any delay for any loan-related reason whatsoever, your seller can cash my $25,000 check. So it just gives them some additional assurance that you're gonna get to closing table on time. And I can't tell you how many offers we've won, even over cash, even over other offers that were higher than ours, because we're giving the seller and the listing agent, don't forget their commissions on the line, we're giving them confidence and assurance we're gonna get to the closing table on time. The third reason we believe we're one of the top lending teams in Denver is we spend a lot of time and effort on financial strategy. You know, I think that the industry has really tried to commoditize what we do for a living. You've got big companies out there that really just have low-level account executives. They're basically doing data entry and they don't really understand sophisticated financial products. They don't really understand what moves the market, what causes the 30-year fixed rate mortgage to move. And so there's very little insight. It's just kind of a, hey, you went under contract, now the next check mark on the box is to lock your interest rate. Well, what if you go under contract on a day where it's the worst day in history ever to lock your interest rate? So we want to make sure that not only are we paying attention to the market, and although I can't predict it, I'm gonna bring a level of experience and expertise that I've developed over the last 20 years to make sure that we're being mindful of everything that's happening to be advantageous when we're locking that interest rate for you. But even further than that, we want to really talk through long and short-term goals, because if you were to say, hey, I'm looking to be in this house for 2 or 3 years, we just found out that my spouse is pregnant and she's expecting, and so we're probably going to need to upgrade. Well, listen, that's going to be a totally different loan product, different structure, totally different strategy than, if you were to say, hey, this is my 20-year home, I want to raise my grandchildren here, and this is my, bury me in the backyard house. So different strategy for that person as well. We're really going to dive into your biggest fear and concern about getting a mortgage, what your long and short-term goals are, and look at more than just the typical 30-year fixed. In fact, if you choose to work with us, you're going to get a lot of pushback. You may have an idea of exactly what you want, and I'm going to give you 3, 4, 5 other reasons why that's not the best option, and we're going to think through it and talk through it together until we come up with the most advantageous way to structure your financing. Next steps. So you're going to be getting an email from my team. That email is going to be talking about a questionnaire that you're going to need to fill out. This is not an official loan application, so don't get too hung up on it. If you're at your computer and you're going through this, no more than 15 minutes. If you're sitting there and it's 45 minutes later, or you've had to take a quick break to go find some paperwork, you're really overthinking it. So take 10, 15 minutes, knock this out. It just gives us a place to start. I'm going to fine tune and tweak everything before we do anything with your actual loan application. But you're going to get a link for that. You're going to get a request for some financial documents, very basic stuff up front. So it might be a W-2, a pay stub, potentially a tax return if you're self-employed. But we want to make sure that we're starting to verify and really understand your income, because 20 years of being in this industry, most people believe they make one thing, and Fannie Mae has a different idea of what you actually make. So we want to gather that documentation so we can make sure we do that full upfront approval, back it with money to make your offer stronger. And the third thing that you're going to see in that email, or that you're going to hear from one of my loan partners, is an encouragement to come visit us, hopefully in person at our office. So not only do we get to know you, but you get to know me. I can introduce you to every single person on the team, so you know exactly who is working on your loan file from start to finish. That's super important to us, only because so many lending teams out there never really introduce the team, and so the client feels really frustrated. They feel confused because they don't understand what's happening during the process. But ultimately, they're going to set up some time for us, whether it's in person or on Zoom, and we're going to talk through everything from different loan products out there that exist. We've got an all cash product that's phenomenal. If you're selling a house to buy a new one, we've got an incredible internal bridge loan where we can access some of that equity, so you don't have to sell that house first or write a contingent offer. We can access some of that capital so you can go buy the house first and then you sell the house and don't have to stress about it. But we're gonna make sure that we have that appointment on the books so we can talk about loan products, we can talk about different down payment options, what do closing costs look like, interest rate and monthly payment, talk about budget and everything that you may want to know about the process. Once that's done, we're moving on to the next step. And again, thank you so much for choosing to work with me and my team to help you through the mortgage process. We look forward to it.